Hey metalheads, you like tattoos? Of course you do. If you're in the Louisville, Kentucky area, come on over the bridge to Clarksville, Indiana, and get you some ink done at Ageless Art. If ink isn't your thing, they have a piercing studio as well. Visit agelessartclarksville.com to see some frequently asked questions, meet the staff. The shop is open Monday through Thursday, 12 to 8 p.m., Saturdays, 12 to 10 p.m., and Sundays, 12 to 6 p.m., all appointment-only spots. You can set up your appointments by phone at 812-283-1793 or email agelessarttattooandpiercing@gmail.com and someone will get you set up for your first or your next tattoo or piercing.
Hey, it's Jeff McNichol down here at Mom's Music, 1900 Melwood Avenue. I was just thinking, when I was a kid, the magic was at Frankfort Avenue, the Mom's Music at Frankfort Avenue, and I used to beg people to get a ride down there just to hang out with the guys and see all the cool gear. Now that I'm the owner of this store, it's like a dream come true. We're recreating the magic with the vibe that we used to have at the old store. We're carrying all the gear that you're going to possibly want. We're giving you the outstanding service and personal attention that you deserve. Yeah, so we've got the great guitar shop here. We're carrying USA Fender, USA Gibson, Paul Reed Smith, Gretsch, Jackson, Charvel. Anything you could possibly want, we're going to have it for you. Mom's is and always will be Louisville's music store.
Thank you for tuning into the Metal Forge. I am Mark Jackson and I am your host. The premise of the show is pretty simple. Awesome interviews and awesome music. If you want to contact me, hit me up at metalforgeradio@gmail.com or visit the website metalforgeradio.com. And now let's get this show on the road. Thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of the Metal Forge. My name is Mark Jackson, and I am your host. Today, I have Vexing Hex here in the Metal Forge studio. We're going to be talking about their upcoming performance tomorrow at Legions of Metal 3.5 at Reggie's and much, much more. But anyways, how are you guys doing this week? I am doing 150% better. Last week, and the week before that, where I was down with COVID, still produced some episodes for you guys. Hopefully you all dug them. By the numbers, it looks like you did, so thank you all. But yeah, I'm feeling a lot better this week. Back at my day job, I'm not like hurting as much or being as winded as much or anything like that. So it's definitely an improvement, getting better every day. Hell yes. So please be smart, be safe, wear your mask, get tested. If you feel like you're sick, stay at home, because this stuff sucks. So you don't want it. All right. So if you feel sick, stay at home, go get a test, make sure you don't have COVID or nothing like that, because it sucks. So anyways, the hot sauce is out and ready. The Metal Forge Blacksmith hot sauce by Mad Matt's Hot Sauce in Lexington, Kentucky. You can log on to the Bandcamp page for Overload and order your bottle. They are limited, so there's only about 6 or so left. Check it out. Get it. It is Fatale and Habanero, and it's got a little bit of a back sweetness to it with apple and elderberry. Dig it. I hope you like it. Like I said, it's on the official overload.bandcamp.com, and under the merch there, you can get the Metal Forge Blacksmith hot sauce. Super rad stuff. Thanks, Matt, for doing that. I do want to thank the folks at Blackened American Whiskey for sending me the care package for talking with Rob Dietrich last week, where they sent me 2 of the 50 milliliter shot bottles of Blackened Whiskey, and they sent me a 50 ml of the Blackened Willet blend and a beanie. It's super cool. Thank you, Jill and Rob, for sending that stuff out. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. So what are you all going for Halloween? Are you going as the generic Spirit Halloween people, like Juice Demon or Midweek Goth Girl Wednesday? See, something like that. I haven't went to a Halloween party in a long time, and I think the last time I went as a zombie metalhead. So that was fun. That was a long time ago, though. Super fun times, though. So seriously, shoot me a message. What are you going as for Halloween? It's just next week. What are you doing? You're going to these parties, right? I mean, of course you're going, but you're being safe about it. So awesome. Shoot me a message. But down below, there are links to the sponsors. And without you guys supporting them, they can't support the Metal Forge either. And I am so grateful that you all do help these businesses. Whether you're listening to their podcast, you're buying instruments from them, you're going and getting tattoos, you're going to the Discogs page. Thank you all so much, and continue to please support all of these guys. You know, Ageless Art, Tattoo and Piercing, Mom's Music, Maxwell's House of Music, Better Days Records, Unchained Tapes, Mercenary Press, The Wrestling Steve Show, The Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast, the It's Gonna Get Weird Podcast. Keep supporting those guys, because every bit helps us at the Metal Forge, and it helps them too. Also, making sure you all click on the Spotify playlists as well. You get to hear all of the previous bands that have been on the show, and you'll be supporting those people as well too. Thank you all. We're going to get into this episode. We're going to listen to some Vexing Hex, because it is spooky season here at the Metal Forge in the month of October. This is Revenant. All right, metalheads, I'm being joined on the line right now with some awesome fucking metal. I've got Chris Cadaverus and Radament from Vexing Hex on the line.
Oh yeah.
Dudes,
hello there.
Happy fucking early Halloween.
Oh, yeah,
We're about a week off.
Spooky season, as they call it.
Spooky season is here in the Metal Forge. That's why I've got you guys here. How the fuck are you all?
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, doing pretty great. Thanks.
How about yourself?
How are you?
I am doing a lot better this week. The last few weeks have been a real kick in the nuts. I'm not going to lie. So I'm doing a whole lot better. I feel a lot better. And, I'm ready to get out and go to a few Halloween shows with wearing my mask, of course. Yeah. So,
yeah, glad to hear you're doing a little bit better. That's always scary having a brush with that. So
absolutely. And it just sucks because, I've talked to so many people all around the world in the COVID time and all of this. And then all of a sudden it's like I went to 2 shows and I'm pretty sure it came from one of them. And
right.
I was just
and
taken
there's
aback
people
by
who do everything right and still, it's just
right. And I've been vaccinated. I wear my mask and I still, that one day I didn't. And I think that's where it came from. And for everything the cool that happened that day, that was the fucking the worst part about it. So, but we're here to talk about you guys. Tell everybody out in Metal Forge Land about Vexing Hex.
All right. Well, Vexing Hex is a band. It's our band. We're kind of a strange, occult, doomy band that Radament jump in.
Yeah, we're a 4-piece occult rock band from the Central Illinois area. And
the Midwest.
Yeah.
Right.
Kind of blending kind of retro metal style with 60s psych styles, just
traditional metal, kind of trying to tell some horror stories.
Absolutely.
And kind of dive into some scary shit, existential shit,
Definitely.
And kind of also, at least for me, try and experiment with different things and just kind of all the stuff. We basically want Vexing Hex to be a coalescence of all of the things that we are at, and be it music or not, and kind of blend it together and present it to the world for better or for worse.
Yeah,
for sure. Now, it looks like here you had Red Harvest that came out about a year ago.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally digging on the single cover for Red Harvest. This Grim Reaper in the red cloak. I love painted covers. I think they speak so true to what metal has been.
Right. Absolutely. That was kind of what we wanted to go for. We wanted a very kind of that's actually a digital painting. It was done by an amazing artist named Victor Lopez, who worked with us on that. We had a concept of kind of what we wanted to get across, and
he knocked it out of the park.
He executed
made
it brilliantly.
Even better than we could imagine. But yeah, I it's kind of like you mentioned, feels kind of like an old school classic metal cover kind of style.
I never would have guessed that is a digital painting, though.
Yeah, isn't it brilliant?
Seriously,
very well
I mean, it totally straight up looks like an oil painting.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome seeing that come together, because honestly, the whole making of Red Harvest was very expedited, I guess would be the word. It was a very fast, the song had existed in our brain, in the ether for a long time, but we ended up setting a hard deadline for ourselves and trying to get it done, and we did, and the art was part of that, and there was some last minute, sort of crunch, I guess, for lack of a better term, and on the art as well. Yeah, there's so much detail in that thing, if you zoom in on it and everything. Actually, I can say one major influence on that art, not just the classic metal, oil painting, that you see on a Dio or record or something like that would be Magic the Gathering cards.
Absolutely.
The artwork for that.
Yeah.
That was totally the vibe. Actually, the guy, Victor, who did that, he is sort of a D&D Magic the Gathering, sort of dark fantasy artist. So he does a lot of commissions for that sort of thing. So I think he was stoked to do a metal record.
Hell
single album art. So
that's totally rad as shit. I can actually see, it's I love being able to look at artwork and see brushstrokes and everything, because in the digital world, where
you lose that, right?
There is so much that is lost. Absolutely. And with this, it's extremely vibrant. The red and the greens and the yellows and the sky and everything like that is just so. I'm
glad you enjoyed that.
Absolutely,
we put a lot of like. It sounds dumb, but like you kind of do have like you got to overthink every aspect of that stuff. And he's a genius of what I would call like color sort of figuring, because I just knew I wanted some like kind of like putrid, rancid color mix, like infection, things that make you think of like pus and blood and
right.
And that's kind of like, it was supposed to be like a sort of disease looking artwork, and it's kind of crazy to be like, I want this to be kind of gnarly and ugly, but it's quite like the ravens and everything he added. It's I don't know, like I'm kind of just, I'm looking at it again and I'm like, damn, that shit's good. Like as if I never saw it before.
Well, I think it takes it back to a time, like you said, like with Dio's album covers and
right.
Anthrax album covers.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of symbology and, different,
right.
You can express a lot of things beyond just like a picture, like a photo or something.
Oh, absolutely. And to me, this actually, especially seeing all the bodies and the skeletons and everything and the ravens down
right.
around the bottom gives me a Sacrifice by Motorhead aspect.
Oh,
where
hell
there's
yeah.
just so much shit going on in the background. You have to look at it and dissect everything. And I think that is where album covers have come back around in this quote new wave of traditional heavy metal, where
for sure
everybody has album covers that mean something again. It's not just a piece of digital artwork that is that's a thumbnail
that you just need something to accompany your music. But yeah, that makes sense. And also the resurgence of vinyl, and actually having physical music, I think maybe has something to do with that. But it's definitely been like a tradition in metal for like ever. But yeah, absolutely.
And even going back to your all's album Haunt, the artwork in that, even the super amount of detail that is in it. Granted, it looks like it was a pencil and ink drawing that
absolutely
that was done in like a negative image, but there is so much going on.
Yeah, so that I made that art. So
nice.
Basically that was like I don't have a lot to say about it other than I like it. And you're absolutely right. It was a pencil sketch and then eventually sort of digitally altered a little bit. And then inverted. But we put out Haunt when we were still going by the name Haunt. Originally it was like it looks better now, I would say, the cover art, but yeah, it was influenced sort of by I kind of wanted to show like all the elements of the album in one image. So there is a lot going on. It's kind of a Where's Waldo situation, like from a design standpoint, you want things to be bold, simple, readable, but in the world of metal and making art, I say, fuck that. I'm just going to make it of an insane mess, so. But that's the thing. I always love seeing artwork like that and album art where there's so much to take in. And every time you look at it, you catch something totally new. And maybe that goes back to like, horror poster art and stuff too from the 80s, because all that stuff was very vibrant and kind of chaotic and messy as well. So
absolutely, for sure. Hey everybody, let me tell you about the new sponsor to the Metal Forge, Unchained Tapes. They're an independent Pennsylvania tape label. They focus on extreme metal and punk with a killer approach to the tape scene. Visit their web store at unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com now to get your fill of tapes. And for being a Metal Forge listener, enter the code METALFORGE10 at checkout to get a 10% discount on your total purchase. That's unchainedtapes.bigcartel.com. Hey, let me tell you guys about Mercenary Press. They're an independent London label and distributor of all things metal. Mercenary Press delivers the goods from their own independent zine. Trust me, you're going to want to get in on that. To distributing various bands from all over the world, including Cramp from Spain and Sadistic Force from Texas. Visit mercenarypress.bigcartel.com to find out what all they have in stock and what you can order. And for Metal Forge listeners, enter code MetalForge to receive a discount on your total purchase at mercenarypress.bigcartel.com. Check it out now. Now, you guys have a show coming up tomorrow at Reggie's in Chicago.
Yes.
That's right.
I'm looking at this lineup. This is absolutely insane.
Fucking crazy. It's changed a little bit over the weeks, but like the final lineup is... Yeah.
Right. And this is what's called Legions of Metal 3.5. It is the little bit of the buffer from where they didn't get to have it over COVID last year.
Right.
So they're doing it the 23rd. And there's, like I said, there are some awesome bands. Raven, High Spirits.
I am so excited to play with High Spirits. And also we get to play with our label mates, our blood siblings, as we call it in Wise Blood, Lavaborn.
Definitely.
We just played with them and they fucking rip.
Yeah.
And they're such good guys.
Great people too. Yeah.
Definitely for sure. Emerald Rage from the Akron/Cleveland area. I've played several shows with those dudes. They're awesome. Love those guys. Of course, High Spirits. Chris, friend of the show. Bob, friend of the show. Super cool fucking band. Destructor, Lurking Corpses. Oh my, there's like so many awesome bands on this bill.
Yeah. And Lurking Corpses was like a replacement for someone who I can't remember the band that was originally on the bill, but yeah, it's like solid as hell. It's gonna be insane. That's all I can say.
I mean, for everybody wanting to go to that, price is $30 for those bands. It's a fucking steal. Doors are at 4. Show is at 5. It's 21 and up. It's actually 35 day of show if you go to the club
if you
day.
don't get advanced tickets, yeah,
for sure. And it's at Reggie's in Chicago. It's an epic metal festival show for October
in more ways than one. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an honor to be part of this with such killer bands. It's like you mentioned in October as well. It's kind of the perfect time to rock out for us.
Absolutely, with all of those bands that are even on the show. And
if it just feels it's an appropriate mix of awesomeness.
Hell yeah, definitely. You're going to pull out any secrets? Are you going to do any new songs at the show tomorrow?
Radament, do you want to say something? I heard him do a little lip smack, so
well, we did play a new track back a couple weeks ago, and when we did our first show back in Indianapolis, and I think we'll probably be busting that one out again. So
nice.
It's a new one.
It's a weird one too.
Yet.
It has not. It's been partially demoed, but basically. It's a weird one to play live, but it's so fully formed that it's like the best, candidate at the moment,
Definitely.
to add to the set. But it's kind of a mostly instrumental kind of title track, I suppose, would be the best way to put it. So it's out of context. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
I don't think the audience didn't quite know what to make of it. And it was very fun. But I'm excited to see what happens with it.
It's great to just see your reaction.
At Reggie's.
And it's fun to do stuff like that.
Right.
It's fun to throw stuff out there that, that people don't hear all the time or, as you're testing new material. It's like,
yes. Yeah. It was a really fun cause honestly, you say it's like fun to do, like the thing that, having our first show back in 3 years, like the thing that hit me the most was just how fun, like doing it again is, and having the connection to people. And I think our goal with the band and the music we make is obviously we want to make like horror based music that is hopefully kind of, scary. But I guess for me, it's also like trying to make really fun music, whether it's people playing it, like learning how to play it on guitar or just enjoying it and listening to it,
Definitely. Mm-hmm. Like I said, there's been this whole resurgence of this new wave of traditional heavy metal, and I don't want to necessarily lump you guys in with that because there is the occult part of it as well. But your sound tends to, have a resurgence going on. It's super fun to listen to. That's the whole thing. Well, thank you for saying that. That's the goal, is just to make stuff that people dig and stuff that we enjoy, so we're influenced by like so much stuff. It's insane. And old school, heavy metal is a massive part of the equation. So Definitely. I think a lot of the people who are attracted to this style today, obviously they were fans of Judas Priest and Iron Maiden and even Metallica and those bands back in the day. But then they became fans of super, super, super heavy bands like Death and, just that whole
the progression, right?
Right. That whole other extreme. And now that as we're older people, we've kind of went back to that Judas Priest, Iron Maiden, that era to listen to again.
Right.
And have started to make that type of music again.
Right. Definitely. Yeah. It's like a comfort zone for me. Like it feels like it feels like home to me, like classic metal, the whole, just everything about it is kind of, I don't know. It's like comfortable to me. I understand it and it feels good. It feels good. Yeah. I don't know how else to put it. It's literally just like I said, with Vexing Hex, we want to be like a coalescence, a kind of like amalgamation of all of our favorite shit. I mean, classic metal, like basically is, 90% of that or 80% of that. So
definitely. So you said this was technically now your second show back in 3 years.
Yeah. The Reggie show will be our second show back in 3 years. And we didn't really, we had one show so I guess it's like our third show, but our second show as Vexing Hex. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Taking out 2020 just because of it being the year of COVID and nobody really had
the plague.
The plague. Yeah. Since the world, as I call the world, caught on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Accurate.
It wasn't necessarily that pushed you all off from not having shows.
No, it actually, and this is going to sound terrible. I think I've said this in an interview before, but the plague kind of worked to our benefit in a lot of ways, as a band, just because it let us have time to figure out what the fuck we were going to do, rebranding our band, after having to do that.
Yeah, I think that really, cause around, 2019 and the 2020, we were, with the name change, obviously, and rebranding, and just it kind of took a little pressure off of like, okay, now we can focus on gearing up for new music, as well as we this year we added a fourth member to the band as well, which is something that we had wanted to do we for a while, to get another guitar player. We just kind of had to work some stuff out before we were fully ready to get back playing again. In that time, I feel like we accomplished a lot, and now we're ready. Yeah,
we had sort of a depressive state, and I want to say it was basically from when we released Haunt to what it'd be right before COVID.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it was rough. We were kind of just in stasis, we were in carbonite, so to speak, trying to figure out what we were going to do. Yeah, right now, I just can't state how good it feels to not be in that spot anymore.
Absolutely.
It's like everything just is flowing freely. It just feels fucking awesome.
Definitely.
But yeah, so to answer your question about, 2020, it was like, it was sort of part of that pause for us, but it was like a necessary. We got to kind of experiment with mixing our personas, so to speak, with like our online presence. So we recorded like a live at home sort of video for Revenant, which was kind of fun. It let us kind of experiment with that aspect of things, and now we're like heavily wanting to do, more online, hopefully streaming like sets and stuff like that eventually. It just kind of opened up a lot for us to have that time where we aren't just worried about physically being out in the world, playing shows and stuff like that. We could kind of focus on, writing music, just weird ideas and trying different things, and kind of finding like what Vexing Hex was, because we kind of knew what we were before, but having to kind of shift gears. Honestly, best thing that could ever happen to us, though, other than Wise Blood Records, which we can also talk about eventually.
Which that happened in 2022, So
yeah, exactly. Like if 2020 hadn't been such a hellish shit show, I don't know that we would be in such, I don't know that we'd be where we are now. So it's it's strange and kind of sad, but
I get it. It almost sounds like that it was like a necessary time to come back and rebrand and
like a sabbatical,
rethink out what needs to happen.
Right. Absolutely. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah,
Definitely.
It was just,
and of course, huge shout out to Wise Blood Records, also friends of the Metal Forge here. Tell us about that. So how did y'all come across Wise Blood?
well, okay, to be completely honest, I was really drunk one night, and I
wouldn't
saw
expect anything less.
right. I was just like, drunk as a skunk, browsing Instagram, and I saw a suggested like account just popped up that was Wise Blood Records. And I was kind of like I'm not a very social, I'm kind of a hermit, both online and in real life, so to speak. So it takes me being intoxicated, I guess, to send a DM to, like a direct message to a fledgling label like Wise Blood Records and just be like, hey, check out our music. Hope you like it. And then much to like our surprise, Sean, the president of Wise Blood Records, sort of responded and was like, yeah, this is really good shit. I'd like to reissue this album if you'd be up for it. And we were kind of like, or at least at me initially why is
the fuck?
Yeah. And
in the best way possible.
Yeah. What the fuck in the best way possible is the best way to put it. And it's been amazing. Like, seriously, it's like a dream come true. Like having someone invest in your music at all who has, the experience in the metal community that Sean Fraser has, it was kind of insane. I don't know a better word for it.
Yeah.
Working with him has been nothing but awesome.
Yeah. All
stuff.
Positives.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the night. You think you know Night Demon? Then the Night Demon Heavy Metal Podcast is for you. Step into the darkness as we peel back the curtain to give you an unprecedented, all-access look into the mind and the heart of the demon. We're talking band history, song analysis, studio anecdotes, stories from the road. It's everything a diehard Night Demon fan could want and more. This is the only place to learn the inside scoop, the deep dive trivia, the untold tales from the band members themselves and those closest to the Night Demon story. Need more? The sacred Night Demon Crypt will be pried open to reveal demo recordings that have never before seen the light of day, all with in-depth commentary by the band and the people who were there for the writing and recording process. This is a gold mine, a treasure trove of all things Night Demon. Head over to nightdemon.net or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hey guys, Wrestling Steve of the Wrestling Steve Show here. So if you're currently listening to the Metal Forge with Mark Jackson, then you understand that Mark Jackson has a pretty discerning taste when it comes to music as a whole. You'll also understand that he has a discerning taste for professional wrestling, just like me. My show is called the Wrestling Steve Show. I talk about modern and classic pro wrestling in a completely unbiased, unfiltered way. Be sure to check me out on all available podcasting platforms. That is the Wrestling Steve Show. And I am the host, Wrestling Steve. Just remember, like Confucius said, man who goes through turnstile in Thailand is going to Bangkok. Pro wrestling.
Let's go ahead and switch gears here, and let's ask some general profile questions about you guys as people, because we're all people out here, and that's what matters, because we're all out to have a good time and to make awesome fucking music.
Hell yeah.
What was your favorite TV show growing up?
Oh, jeez.
Okay, so this is a nightmare for me because I just have to say, choosing favorites, choosing top whatevers is like, it's my biggest kryptonite, I think. So I'm going to do my best, but I apologize to the listeners for for what is about to happen.
Yeah, there's so many.
Go ahead, Radament. You can.
Oh, jeez.
You got this. Favorite show, because it's like, do I go with?
I know whatever I say,
show,
I'm going to.
I go with like teen years when I was like more.
Be like, oh shit, I forgot this one. But my favorite.
I can't even think of a TV show. Home Movies. Brendan Small. I love that.
Home Movies is one of my favorite shows still today.
It's like a top 5. So
that's still today one of my favorites.
I loved Home Movies. A lot of the Adult Swim stuff, like really, for better or worse, my sense of humor. But I've always feel like Home Movies is a really underrated little comedic animated show with some amazing talent on it.
I have never seen it, actually.
Really? So the guy who made Death Clock and, Metalocalypse it's his show before that. Basically.
Okay.
It's really fun, really funny.
Yeah, it's
lots of charm.
It's just very funny dialogue based, just like,
right. Got John Benjamin or H. John Benjamin, playing Coach McGurk. Okay. I could talk about this much too long. So
I'll have to check it out for sure.
For me, there's it could be so many. I'll just say one. I mean, I loved Dragon Ball Z growing up. Fucking, people screaming, shooting energy blasts at each other, and just
key blasts.
Yeah,
for sure.
There's one.
What do you do to get away from music?
Oh man. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of comedy, and pro wrestling and film, I would say, is sort of like the thing that I gravitate towards other than music, like when, it's just been overloaded either from working in it or listening to it too much, which is hard to do.
Yeah. I'm play a lot of video games.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Also a pro wrestling fan. And I mean, we're brothers, Chris and I, so we're going to, we grew up together. We're going to have a lot of kind of similar vibes and stuff, but
yeah, we can kind of answer for each other on a lot of these.
We're very, very similar tastes. But yeah, I mean, I'd say video games is a go-to. I play a lot of video games, but you're still kind of in it because video game music was such a big thing growing up. Like I feel like video game music really, really influenced.
Huge influence. Yeah.
Even Vexing Hex music itself, but so it's not a complete departure from music, but like it's not playing it
and I was about to say one of your most played games you do, especially on Twitch, is Rocksmith, which is a guitar video game. So I mean, there's no escaping.
Yeah,
right. And I think bands like Dragon Force were majorly influenced by stuff like Simon's Quest and Castlevania.
Absolutely, yes. Wait till you hear our new music. Because I was going to say one of the songs the one we talked about, one of our new ones is like straight out of a Castlevania game.
I love it already.
Yeah, no, for real. I mean, I've composed some video game music in my day, so
nice.
Yeah,
not so much anymore,
very
but that's
stuff.
A lot of the influence for Vexing Hex is very much from a video game realm of things,
For sure.
Just the sort of like bombasticness. Is that a word? I don't know. But like video game music is like usually balls to the wall. It's like insane. It's getting across so much emotion and so much, there's so much shit going on in that music because, and in classic video game music, it was limited tools. You had with the 8-bit era, you only had 4 channels of audio to use and that shit slaps. So it's kind of inspiring across the board, like just doing a lot with a little. Also just the compositions themselves are fantastic
for sure.
And it's a big video games.
Yeah, absolutely. So you brought up wrestling.
We did.
Who's your favorite wrestler?
Okay, Radament, you go first because I was a neophyte to the pro wrestling world in around 2014. I was brought in. I was initiated by the blood of the Undertaker or whatever. So
you're a newer fan.
Yeah, like within the past decade, half.
Okay.
So I did not watch it I in my teen years, growing up with Radament, who, his mortal vessel, so to speak, was obsessed with wrestling for
long time.
Most of his adult and young adult life. So to me, it was sort of like a constant thing that was just there.
You were always around it, but you didn't.
And I didn't get it. I didn't quite grasp it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I've been a fan since about 2005 or so. So a little, still that's a while now, but it's still, not Attitude Era. It was post Attitude Era, but like
Ruthless Aggression.
The Ruthless Aggression era is my shit. Like that's my nostalgic era for sure. Like in a lot of ways,
the Eddie Guerrero, JBL era.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yep.
I can get behind that. They still had some good stuff going on then.
Yeah. That's kind of when I hopped in. Shawn Michaels was one that really just right away. I was just drawn into his. He just had a charm about him. Even at that time, he was just putting on great matches and was kind of a dick, but he was goofy and funny.
Right.
Also Undertaker, because I love that spooky shit. I think at the time he was doing a feud with Randy Orton and they burned his casket and he came back and I was like, that's so cool.
Right.
So I just was drawn in, the fact
the occult aspects of
I mean, it's always
WWE.
It's always been
definitely.
with me.
Who's your favorite though? You're dodging the question.
You said
honestly,
Shawn Michaels.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean,
I'd say
bold,
all time because I still am a fan now. Not so more of like AEW nowadays, but like I still watch. So I mean, if I had to pick like one overall favorite of all time, I honestly think I'd probably say Bryan Danielson, because he was the one, Daniel Bryan, because he's the one who really, really kept me as a big fan, just because of his ability, his way to connect with the crowd, and just how damn good of a person he is too.
Right. Honestly, for me, in the last however many years of watching wrestling, the storyline with him leading up to WrestleMania 30, where he wrestled Triple H to get into the championship match that year, was probably one of the best storylines I think they have had in the last 20 years.
Well, that lines up with me getting into wrestling. That's what did it.
Yeah, that's when you got. That's when
Daniel Bryan is Bryan Danielson, as his actual sort of name, shoot name, I guess they say. But that's what pulled me in, was watching WrestleMania 30.
Yep.
Yeah,
WrestleMania 30.
So I had kind of been following along, just, seeing, a match here, a promo there or whatever, and kind of getting a feel for it. And then watching that show, I was like, yeah, it clicked. It made sense. I totally understood. And it was like, oh yeah, it's like, this is something I understand, and it kind of hooked me there. So it's hard not to say that Bryan Danielson is like my favorite wrestler, but right now, I probably will go with my favorite being, I really like Malachi Black.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He's literally a black metal wrestler. So, I mean, I don't know what to say.
Yeah,
Orange Cassidy as well.
Oh, come on. Really?
Yeah. Yes, I love Orange Cassidy. Do you hate him? I want to hear your take. What about Penta El Zero M?
I'm actually not a big fan of AEW personally, but I am definitely not a fan of WWE right now either.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. It's a little bit of WWE's like, I have a hard time even just following it because it sounds so like not interesting to me.
Definitely. But, I like Danhausen actually right now.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
Dude, he is so fun. He's fantastic.
It's Danhausen. He's funny.
Yeah. Very evil. Very evil.
The very evil Danhausen. Yeah, exactly.
He's fantastic. Yeah.
I loved when people were buying the cameos for him to talk to Jim Cornette.
Just to fuck with that guy.
Oh my gosh,
that's amazing.
They were so good. And of course, Jim, he's like, I really like this guy. Of course, then I'd probably watch him wrestling and I'd hate him. But
exactly. But his persona is like fantastic.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Right.
Metalheads are usually eclectic people. We tend to find a lot of weird knick-knack shit and collect it.
Sure, yeah.
What do you all collect?
I've tried to downsize my like the amount of shit I own just for, general purposes, but I have a pretty epic collection of 2000s horror DVDs.
Oh, hell yeah.
Nice.
I mean, I'm a big fan of horror. The thing is, I've kind of sadly stopped collecting as much, physical media, and it's
physical not anything. Cause
it's the best shit, but it's also like, you gotta have a place.
It just takes up space, unfortunately.
Right. And when you don't have space, it's like, it's just kind of, it sucks.
It's daunting
stuff. Right. I don't have like a really interesting collection, really.
I don't think at the moment I have a collection per se. I used to buy a lot of CDs and would try to collect those. Just
I have a lot of CDs.
But one thing, I held on to a lot of this stuff, so I guess you could call it a collection, and it means a lot to me, but I don't actively seek it out to collect. But I used to sing in a lot of different groups, we used to do barbershop singing and stuff, which some of that comes through in some of our music. The vocals are a big part of our sound, especially, Cadaverus and I, we do a lot of the harmonizing together. But I've saved a lot of the music I've been in multiple chamber choirs and a men's glee, barbershop quartets and octets, madrigals, musicals.
You're just dropping.
I have binders and folders of just all these old songs I did, sheet music and whatnot.
Nice.
So I guess you could call that a collection, because I wouldn't want to get rid of it. I like to.
Yeah, that's an archive, if anything. I would say
for sure.
So, and that that does mean a lot to me. So
Hell
that
yeah.
and wrestling shirts, band shirts. Those are the only other things.
Oh yeah, that's a good
You have a lot of that ruthless aggression era shirts and.
Yeah, I think I just threw them in a
so.
bag, put them in the.
You're like,
it's like I'm not gonna wear this shirt of like Shawn Michaels that says like "sexy boy" on it, but like,
or like him like doing a crotch chop and it's like "suck it." Like,
at the end it says "suck it." It's like I'm not gonna wear this, but I'm not gonna get rid of it either.
Right. There's sentimental value there, but it's not something you want to wear to the wherever the fuck.
Definitely.
Hey, it's Mark Maxwell at Maxwell's House of Music. Listen, all this stuff is now available to purchase on our website. Check it out at maxwellshouseofmusic.com.
We carry all the top brands, like Fender.
We got Gibson.
We also have basses.
We've got ukuleles.
We got drums.
We've got sound gear.
We've got keyboards.
It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. We're on season 2, so you have a whole season to get weird with Frank Green and Scott Clark. The best part is there's always laughter.
Oh, yeah, you can pull that out.
We have national touring comedians, NFL stars, rock stars, your local friends. It always gets weird. Weird answers.
Have y'all ever snorted coke off of a 78 Pinto? No? You ain't no man.
Weird questions.
Who had a bigger cocaine habit, Jock Sutherland or Kaywood Ledford? Neither one, because they stopped beating their wives.
And weird we never even thought of.
Well, no. My friend is on acid, and I sent my friend to go find a payphone so that I can call and turn myself in for murdering this guy and ruin my life.
We love all types of people, but we don't love all people.
Weird. It's Gonna Get Weird is the name of the podcast. Available everywhere. And thank you to Big X Sports Radio for being a proud sponsor of It's Gonna Get Weird. Frank Green, Scott Clark. Yeah.
Priest or Maiden?
Oh,
Priest.
geez.
Priest. I'm saying right away. I love Iron Maiden, though.
I'll say Maiden, but I love them both. It really, it could depend on the day, but we're gonna say Maiden today.
I mean, you can't go wrong either way. So.
No,
but for us, for me, Judas Priest is like metal. Like Judas Priest is metal. You know what I mean? Like they are, like that is the epitome. So that really is, and they still fucking kick ass.
Yeah, and I won't lie,
it's insane. And the dude just kicked cancer's ass.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
So badass.
I'm so like, I love Judas Priest. I love Iron Maiden, but I'll say Judas Priest 100%.
Yeah, I was going to say actually Judas Priest's Firepower from 2018 is honestly one of my favorite albums by them. And it's,
it's killer.
It's a newer one, but I think so Judas Priest fucking rocks.
Hell yeah. What is your biggest pet peeve?
This might be too broad of an answer, maybe not, but just overall rude people, just rudeness, whether it be in customer service with people or just, it's just in general, whether it impolite, rude, just when I try to always just
go the route of an interaction with like
kindness, nice. Yeah. And there are people who don't do that. And it's just decency. Come on. Rudeness is definitely a pet peeve. I don't know if that's just too generic of an answer, but rude people.
I thought it was good.
No, I think that's exactly what I'm looking for in this because, I agree with you because there's too much like intolerance of other people, I think.
Yeah, right. Definitely.
Well, and it also just feels like when you're punching down, when you're taking out your frustrations with the world on other people, it's like, there's nothing more despicable than that, in my opinion. It's like these people who tend to do that are, just sort of privileged, and then they feel there's no consequences, so they can do that to say like workers or service workers and that sort of thing. And it's like it's really disgusting. And so that's like more of like it's less a pet peeve, and that's almost just like a very
pet peeve is almost too small of a
that right. You almost need to be like pet peeve is like a petty thing. That's why I'm trying to think.
True, that's true.
I'm trying to think what that would be for me. I would say, oh geez, I have a lot. So I know I have a lot. So why am I blanking on? I would say basic stuff like leaving something open, like an open bag of chips.
Crackers.
Oh yeah.
That shit's going stale. Just clip it.
Yeah, that's a good pet peeve right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a literal pet peeve.
It happens in like a few hours.
Right. It's a little thing, but it matters.
Yeah, but it just could have just put a clip on that, would have been saved, but you fucked up.
now it's like chewing cardboard. Those Doritos are no longer fit for
They are no Doritos.
Exactly. Exactly. What album is an absolute playthrough for you?
Like no skips.
Yep.
Okay, that's complicated because
there's a lot.
The first one that jumped to my mind, I was like, oh, I do kind of skip the last few songs because they're not really, and it would have been a weird left field answer. So Radament is much better about this sort of,
I mean, the one that my favorite album of all time, Master of Puppets. I mean, to me, it's a perfect album. So
right.
If I'm listening to it, not skipping anything on it, I could probably think of 10 more, but I'll go with Master Puppets.
For sure.
I would say probably Alice in Chains, Dirt.
Yeah. Yes. Hell yeah.
Nice.
I love every fucking song on that thing. I mean, there's probably like 10 or more albums like that though. That's just the first one that jumped into my brain,
For sure. And they're so iconic for their times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like, I don't even know if Dirt has my favorite. I guess it is. Yeah. It's
Dirt's one of my favorite albums.
It's pretty fucking perfect. Yeah, all the way through. I guess the only thing, I don't skip it, but I guess it's a little superfluous is the Iron Gland.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that's not really necessary, but it doesn't bother me enough to skip it. But yeah, I guess it's not, I guess the best answer would be like Pink Floyd's Animals, like that's like what I would listen to that straight through, but that's like any prog album,
You almost have to though.
You have to, for sure. Like prog stuff. And also I would argue like all the great, like sort of, well, I don't know. I don't want to, I would say like there's a lot of thrash albums like, Radament mentioned, like Master of Puppets. It's like, that's like an experience from start to finish. It's like going on a ride, so I would lump that in there as well.
For sure. For sure. All right. So guys, I've got one more question for you, but before we get into that, do you have any shout outs you want to give to anybody?
Oh God.
Well, I mean, got to give a shout out to our other two Hex brothers, Haster and Liminos, who, aren't here, but
Haster is the bass player in Vexing Hex, and Liminos is a new sort of, he's returned, he's been resurrected and is now covering rhythm guitar duties and is fucking killing it. But yeah, shout out to the rest of the band. There's so many shout outs. I don't know what to do. I'm like paralyzed. I mean,
shout out to Sean and Wiseblood for everything.
Absolutely. Shout out to Lavaborn. Shout out to Legions of Metal at Reggie's tomorrow.
Hell yeah.
Please go. It's going to be insane. It's an insane lineup. 2 stages worth of just chaos. You got to be there.
Looking forward to it.
Hell yeah. So, final question of the day. What album changed your life?
Oh, gosh. Okay. So many have,
Yeah.
So I'm trying to think of the most
influential.
Yes, exactly. The most influential, like which altered my entire course as a human being and entity.
Okay.
Can I just... Yeah, go ahead.
You have it. Go ahead.
I think I know what song did, but I don't know if that would count as an album, So I think I need to think of...
Do you want me to go ahead?
Yes, please do.
All right. I'll try not to make this too drawn out here, but one artist, not so much an album, but Weird Al was a huge like a gateway.
No, for sure.
So much music. And I think Chris would agree. Yeah. Weird Al doing parodies of a lot of different songs. And it led into... Oh my God, listen to this band because you listen to the originals and stuff.
Right.
Like Nirvana and stuff. But then getting into like heavier music, I mentioned Master of Puppets, obviously, with that, it wasn't so much an album, but just listening to a few songs. But when I heard the album, I picked up just kind of an impulse buy because I knew the band and I picked up Paranoid, Black Sabbath. And I just remember putting that in my CD player and listening to it and just top to bottom. It was like I was hearing for the first time it kind of changed me. It was because I was trying to learn bass at the time. Bass was the first instrument I learned. And I was just like, this is fucking killer. Like everything about this, it just
resonates.
It's heavy. It's like evil, but it's like catchy. It's it's everything. It's like, I want to be these guys. I want to play this shit, you know?
Right.
So I think Paranoid, I remember that was a huge point of like, okay, I need more.
That's definitely a big one for me. Paranoid was one of the first albums I like played along to, like start to finish, kind of like try, at least the rhythm guitar parts.
Yeah.
But I'd say for me, I guess like maybe one of the most life-changing albums would be Walk Among Us by the Misfits.
Oh,
Right
it was
on.
because here's the thing: if I didn't discover the Misfits, there would be nothing that I would like. I didn't know you could just write music like that about horror movies or about. I didn't know, like, you know, like I guess I did, but it woke me up. Like I was like, oh, I can do this. You know, it started me on the path to making horror music and making, honestly, like everything I've ever made. So I think I have to give it to that.
Mm.
I think the Misfits are kind of ubiquitous for a lot of metalheads and, you know, extreme music fans, and
Definitely.
to the point of kind of, you know, like being maybe a little bit overrated, overplayed. But Walk Among Us for sure, a life altering moment for me, and definitely sort of set me on the path to where I am today, from a songwriting perspective and that sort of thing. So
Hell yeah. And again, you know, it is so different than everything else that's out, that, you know, Misfits are their own thing.
right.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of invented a whole fucking thing. Like
Right.
they took you know, like it's and adapted. It's, you know, like I feel like it's inspired so many bands, you know, like the Misfits have, and it's like we're just another one of them, kind of putting our own spin on a classic formula, you know. So
Definitely. And that's exactly where it needs to be.
right.
Dudes, Radament, Chris Cadaverus, thank you guys so much for coming into the Metal Forge this week. It has been awesome.
Absolutely.
I've had
Thank
such
you
a great
so much
time.
for having us.
Yeah, this was a really fun conversation.
Great
and
chats.
It was a blast. So thank you so much for having us.
Yes, thank you.
We'd love to come back and maybe
Absolutely.
feature different people if that's a possibility.
Of
at some
course,
point.
it always is, for sure. So we're going to be playing out Red Harvest today, because you guys
Awesome.
are going to be playing at Reggie's tomorrow, and you guys are going to
Oh,
kick
yeah.
the fucking shit out of the stage at Reggie's.
We are gonna a red harvest will descend on Reggie's, and
Yes.
souls will be reaped, and we will. Yeah, I hope people are ready for that shit. It's gonna be a blast.
Can't wait.
Awesome. So, guys, thank you so much. Here is Red Harvest. Hey, thank you all for tuning into this week's episode of The Metal Forge. I want to take a minute to remind you guys about the Patreon page. Over on the Patreon page, we have the tiers set up to support the production of the show. We feature the Down and Dirty, which is just $1. There's nothing special for that one, it just sends me a thank you because every dollar helps. Then there's the Double Down and Dirty. Much akin to the Down and Dirty tier, everything helps produce the show in the end. You make your presence known, and I appreciate that more than you realize. Thank you for being a dedicated friend and supporter to the Metal Forge. By selecting that tier, you will receive some cool Metal Forge stickers in your mailbox. Now, we're really going to start pounding the metal madness with the Apprentice Metalhead for just $5 a month. By becoming an Apprentice Metalhead, you'll be given early access to the shows, published 24 hours before everyone else gets it. You're also going to receive 3 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You're also going to receive a 10% discount on all Metal Forge merch, and you're going to receive a sweet Metal Forge patch for your battle jacket or backpack. And now, here is the big one. This is the Master Metalhead for just $10 a month. By becoming a Master Metalhead, you will receive a hand-numbered Metal Forge Master Metalhead membership card. You're going to be given early access to the shows as well, with 36 hours before everyone else. You're going to receive 5 entries in any contest that we do here at the Metal Forge. You'll be able to submit audio questions that I will use on the show of you asking questions to the upcoming guests. Remember, timing is everything, and you will need to keep up with the upcoming guest list on the website. You're also going to receive advanced knowledge of any new merch coming out and be given a 25% discount on all Metal Forge merch. And you're also going to get all of the other rewards from the other tiers. So visit patreon.com/Metal Forge Radio today and help support the Metal Forge. Rock on.